I'm Chris Moore with Senior Remodeling Experts, and we're looking at this project today. This is a project we were asked to create an addition, an accessible addition for the client. His side of his truck completely opens up. There's a lift that comes out and sets on the ground. He pulls his wheelchair onto it, locks into place, and back in the truck he goes. So that's pretty cool. And so right here we have VPL.
You want me to open up this truck?
Yeah. So the VPL. This is Tim Sky,
Greg Gelford.
Greg Galford, and his class. So when it's all the way down, the door will open, and you can see the lift on the truck over here.
And then he drives with the pickup, with the wheelchair right in there, and then it gets locked in here. And then to let him go out, I have to unlock him. And you can put a regular chair in too.
Just as a piece of machinery, how this works.
Only you can do it with GM pickups and Chevy pickups.
So what we did was we added this addition, extended the bedroom to create a sitting area, and we have exterior door for emergency egress. We normally, on these jobs, will have a ramp, but on this particular one, he waived that, so it's just a small platform and steps, but a ramp could be installed later if that becomes, a concern. But certainly if the house is on fire, he could get out of the house. And then in here, we have the curbless shower. Y'all can step on in here. And the roll under sink.
Is this part of the existing footprint or this?
No, this is all part of the addition. That was the exterior wall right there.
Okay, right.
And then the laundry area, laundry room right inside. Fold down seat.
So so it's interesting how did this, what was probably the square foot, cost per square foot, do you have anywhere?
Yeah, the addition is 24 by 12. And the total cost was right at $200,000. This laundry room was the bathroom originally, and pretty typical 5x8 inaccessible bathroom. And the laundry was actually in the closet in the kitchen, and so we moved the laundry out here. And that was not the lift and all the vehicle modifications were covered by other grants, so that was not part of what we did. We did put a wider door on the kitchen where they can get out on their deck more easily.
Give you guys an idea of what you need. You're starting to lay it out on paper. It's sometimes like, it's hard to understand. But now you can start to see, you have the 5-foot turnaround, but by having it as clear as possible, as open as possible, simple as space, then you can maneuver. You can see why having a toilet next to the sink is pretty necessary, because now I can just do it all for one side there. And then of course you have the space under the vanity for the wheelchair. The grab bars are actually, we're kind of used to those ones you see in hospital, institutional ones. You can see these aren't institutional. They look fine. They look okay. Hey guys, sorry. So you want to come in this way? So Mr. Moore was explaining that this is the wall of the original house here. So this is the addition to the house that was built. So the sitting room and the new bathroom here, we're basically making this like sort of a universal design suite in a way. You can see from the curbless shower, we're talking about the features there. And then he has actually space outside there as well. So, but this is kind of the answer to how to take a small existing suburban house from probably the 70s or something and how you make it work. It's really not so easy, and this is probably the easiest way to make one work. So, and then you can reconfigure inside as you need to. So.
Yeah, and I guess the line between what we consider universal design and generally accessible design. Universal, we're trying to meet the needs of everybody, and in this case, we're actually trying to meet the needs of the client individually. But a lot of the principles are the same, and certainly making the space aesthetically pleasing and fitting in with the rest of the house are all things that would be considered universal. And making the grab bars and the tile and everything fit in with the decor in such a way that people don't say, "Ooh, that's ugly," right? So
and also think about this too, and like in this case of having the house, and this, say that the addition's a couple $100,000, whatever. But now you start, that's a lot of money, but now balance that against the long-term costs of being in some type of facility, which can run you 80 to 100 a year.
easily.
Easily, 80,000, 100,000 per year. So it's still, at the end of the day, might be this is the better solution. And again, as I've said, as the baby boomers get older here, and you're gonna have a swell of older people in the next 10 years, those existing facilities can't accommodate them, so these types of solutions, he's smart, because he's found his market sector here.
Yeah.
It's really smart, because you're gonna have a lot of folks who are going to be in similar situations in how you modify a house, so.
I got into doing accessible construction. I was started my business in '01, and from '01 to '08, I was in new construction. We were building $1 million big houses, and everything was moving right along. And then '08 came along, and the financial crisis, and everything dead stopped. Right. And right about that time, my mom and dad, they'd been in Arizona in an age-restricted community, and my mom had a stroke, and they moved back to Virginia to get some help, and so. Bought a house, and there were 7 or 8 steps going in the house, and she came home in a wheelchair, and so I built my first wheelchair ramp. And as I did some things for my mom, I realized there's a lot of people that want to stay home, but their homes are what we call Peter Pan housing. They're built for people that never grow old. Okay, and so, and a lot of it is just really common sense: 3-foot wide doorways, curbless showers. Enough room to turn around, and then some of it's specialized. Roll under vanities. We've done a number of projects where we have convertible, so we have a vanity that can slide out and the sink stays attached to the wall, or we have cabinet fronts in a kitchen that in front of the sink and the cooktop that can be removed. So there's a great deal of resistance in the general population to any kind of accessible remodeling. People think that they're surrendering to the ravages of aging if they install a grab bar. And there's many people that would rather pretend that everything's great and wonderful than make some simple proactive changes. And hopefully you all will be a catalyst in changing that mindset as you get out in the marketplace and you show people that this is just smart. I mean, it's just common sense to create homes that work for everybody. I've seen studies that say only 15% of us will get through our entire life without a mobility impairment of one kind or another. Maybe you break your leg skiing. Maybe you turn your ankle playing basketball, and it's weeks or months until you recover. But getting up and down the stairs or in and out of the standard bathroom in a home can be very challenging, for that period. So universal design is just the idea that, let's make homes that work for everybody.
I mean, I told my mother was in a wheelchair her last 2 years. Adapting that standard house was so much money and such a pain in the butt. And I just do not understand why people build new housing.
Yeah.
And build Peter Pan houses, and don't just build this stuff. Even if you don't put the grab bar in, you put the blocking in the wall, you put it on your drawings, so it's easy to put on when you want it, that kind of thing. It's just, but you can see that to adapt any other type of bathroom is a lot of money. It's hard. So why not just do this from the get-go? So I think being sensitive to that, what you select, that it looks residential. I think people will just get used to it in a way. So. No, but this, like I said, it's a good model, like the kind of additions you may have to do to existing houses to make them adaptable as a way forward for housing. There's just not enough existing types of things out there. And so, like I said, this is a smart market niche there to have. It's going to become more and more important.
So on this job, we did a whole house remodel. The folks came to us, and they've lived here for 50 years, and they love the neighborhood, and they love the house. They have a large family. And holidays, they've got a bunch of people in this house, and there were several walls, and that was the first thing they said. They wanted the floor plan to be open. So when they had all the kids and grandkids and 20 some people in the house, you'd be able to see each other and mingle and socialize. So you can see all the way from the front window all the way to the back of the house now. So that was a big thing. And then moving the laundry upstairs and creating a more universal type floor plan. So let's take a look. And this is something that I had nothing to do with. The homeowners came up with this, but the mailbox is on a swivel. And so the mailman can come put the mail in without coming up the ramp, but they can just turn around and get the mail out. Which, which is a great example of how sometimes the simplest little concepts can make, a big difference in people's lives. Hello.
Leave me at the door.
Hello, Chris.
Hi, Pat.
How you doing, Chris?
Good. How are you?
I'm resting very well, as you can tell.
Well, good. Well, good.
Everything's fine.
This
How
is-
you leave?
This is Pat and Sheila Herndon, and these are design students from Virginia Tech,
Well, bless his heart.
and
to see you all.
they are studying universal design so that they can create wonderful homes for
That's
people
great.
for years to come.
That's great.
So,
And the more money, the more things.
so there was a wall here. There was a wall here.
And that was in
This is
the
a
original.
bearing wall. So this was at one point an exterior wall,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. When he finished graduate school, he came to say,
Oh, that's great.
and loved it. Still do.
So like I said, this was a bearing wall. There's a beam up in the ceiling carrying the roof load, so we could open it up and expand the kitchen a little bit. This was the exterior wall of the house when we started, right here. And one of the first requirements that they told me is that this bird feeding station right here had to go back. So we had to put that back. They love feeding their birds. And so through here is the laundry area. Again, this was downstairs, and the steps were very, very steep, and there was a rope for a railing. So it was not safe. So created this laundry, the pantry here with the barn doors. And this right here is the new basement stairs. We put them at a comfortable rise and run and added handrails to both sides. So in the bathroom, if you want to step in here, we also have the roll under sink. Maybe take turns. And then we did the wall hung commode. She was concerned that she didn't want to have to clean under the commode, so having it wall hung open underneath, which is actually more accessible as well. And then the curbless shower, fiberglass shower unit on this job, and the rubber collapsible dan with the curtain that tucks in behind it is what keeps the water in.
And I see you have a powder here. Is there any rooms when you did the renovation, any rooms you had to kind of get rid of to add things, or?
No, we didn't get rid of anything. We widened this hallway here. So we shrunk this bathroom just ever so slightly. And then you'll notice on this pocket door, because with the pocket door, I saw a couple of you opening the one on the other, and those tiny little finger pulls are really tough to grasp. And we've got that here. You've got to have really good manual dexterity to turn those. And so what we did was on this door, we just put a D handle right here. And then we had to cut out a recess in the jamb. As far as universal design, this bank of cabinets is shallower than typical. Normally you'd have a 24-inch base cabinet, and these I think are 18 or 16, which allows this walkway to be wider. And the island is quite small, allowing these walkways.
Yeah, they have to put in a residential element, which they're finding is a little problematic.
Uh-huh.
It's not that, the floor plate's not that big.
Right.
So if you see things like this where you may have to nothing says it has to be 24 inches deep. It can be. You may have to kind of thin in places that
Right.
but this is important if you have a wheelchair. That's more important than the width of that.
That's 18 inches.
18, so you've lost 6, but who cares? But this is what's important.
Well, I haven't had any problem getting anything in 18 inches.
Right.
And quite frankly, as I get older, getting back to 24 inches
Right.
is harder
It's
to
harder,
do,
yeah.
especially on the bottom.
The deep
Yeah.
cabinets are hard to get into. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So on your elevator, you're putting an elevator in an existing home?
Yeah, residential elevator.
Okay. So structurally creating the shaft.
And just making it line up.
Right, right.
It's not a big, it's smaller floor plates than this house.
Yeah.
So it's not very big. It's a townhouse in
Yeah.
Alexandria, so.
Well, if you ever get involved and you're doing new construction, one tip that's good to remember is if you stack 2 closets that are large enough for an elevator and make the floor between them removable, so that at any point in the future, you need to put in an elevator, you just take the floor out, have your electrical and phone lines already roughed in, and that makes the whole process way easier. And the other thing to keep in mind when we talk about universal design, we talk about wheelchairs, but anything that benefits a wheelchair benefits a young couple with a baby in a baby stroller. It benefits the people delivering the refrigerator, or the furniture, or, so it's not about wheelchairs necessarily. I mean, it can be, but it's also about just the house being user friendly and works for people, across the spectrum.
This is a nice detail back here, the built-in bench. Was that always, you've always had that, or?
No.
See, that was an addition.
I didn't put it originally, and after they put the door thing there.
Yeah, the window seat and the built-in bookshelf over there and the built-in bookshelf over here was added in process.
No, but it's perfect.
And with the, well, there's a folding table over there.